Hey, good morning. It's 8 o'clock on our 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, and it's a Saturday. Just fixed my microphone there. Still looks terrible. What are you going to do? Wires. So anyway, there's a couple things going on. Has anybody noticed the coronavirus issue that's all over the map, right? So, and we're live television. I'm trying to adjust the microphone while we're going live, and I don't think it's going to work that well. There we go. It just ruined my shirt. Okay, now we're live, right? It's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. It is 8:06, and a little late this morning, but I was up around, I was reading stuff and look what's going on, looking at some social media stuff, and then I'm like, what times is the ShopRite open down here in Philly? ShopRite is our grocery store, and it's like 6 o'clock. I'm like, okay, I could do the show at 5, or I can go get toilet paper. And I was really curious to see if they actually had the toilet paper, because this coronavirus stuff. I mean, seriously, I think everybody's gone nuts. However, I knew I was on my normal buying habits and where it was, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, 6 a.m. I went to the grocery store. There was already 100 cars in the parking lot at the local grocery store, and all the shopping carts, which you'd think there'd be a lot out front of it because it's the start of the day, were all in the store. So it was a little madness there. I took some videos. I'll make a TikTok video of it and just have some fun. But yeah, it's kind of crazy, and they already pretty much sold all the stuff they have already. So come 2 hours from now, I don't even know if they're gonna have any now. It's been I got there about 6:18 in the morning. It's now 8 o'clock. I don't think there's any toilet paper left in that store. Definitely not any cleaning products, but I wasn't worried about that part. Just regular soap and water is good enough. So I just wanted to go out there and experiment and see what it is. One of the benefits of getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day, 4:30, and being the first one in the store, right? And apparently a guy was over at the Walmart, and he says Walmart was already out, and he came over to the ShopRite to go. So, and I took a picture of the Walmart parking lot too, and it's pretty full at 7 o'clock a.m. this morning. But anyway, we're not necessarily here to talk about coronavirus, but there's a lot of impact that coronavirus having. And like I talk about on this show, where we talk about Agile and Scrum in a practical and tactical way, and getting you home to your family, friends, so you have fun, bringing value to the business, and not stressing out at work so much. Because if you stress out, you're going to get sick. So don't stress out. And a lot of adaptation going on, business agility, right? And a lot of Scrum and Agile is just bound to be an Agile, developing systems in place that allow you to pivot if you need to, and that's why we like the sprints and have the cadence, right? So that you can pivot, you get stuff done, it's all done, don't worry about it anymore. Now pivot to the new thing because that's the new hot thing. And I thought it was funny, and I did post up on LinkedIn last night with the WWE, and they did their show in their training facilities in Florida, I guess, and there was no audience. And I thought about it. I was curious to see what they would do because it was different. Didn't have a crew because everybody's blocking everybody from having a big event, and it was pretty good. I mean, it was interesting. It was different, but you know what? Just like in Scrum and Agile, it's going to happen again next week, and they could do nothing or can have something. But at least they tried it, see what works, and we're going to see whether or not they retrospect on the event, how it went, the sounding, the atmosphere, the activities, and if they're going to repeat it again next Friday. So I'm really curious to see if that's going to happen again next Friday when they do the show, because it's live, so it's live television. It's not recorded, so it's pretty interesting. So it'll be interesting to see if it transforms in a sprint, like a weekly sprint, for the next show the next week, and does something different. So I'm definitely going to tag into that and watch that, and maybe report back on the following Saturday to see if they really did like a retrospective. Maybe I'll interview. reach out to them. So anyway, so this is observations around stuff. Just getting agile, so when stuff happens, that you have the skills and capabilities to be able to pivot, not worry about what you did, or you got everything all good worked, and then when you want to come back to it, you can work on it again. And that's one of the techniques we try to learn, where people, if they have these long stories, long activities, you don't know where you stop from, and it's very hard. You might as well just start over from scratch. So the beauty of Agile and Scrum and stories and smaller bits is that whatever you finished, you finished. And it's easier to start up again if you have to. So that's one of the benefits of Agile and Scrum, especially Scrum, the way we organize it. But this week I had a lot of issues with people, a lot of questions about points, because they're very I want to say naive, but young in the world of Agile, young in the world of work. And a lot of people just don't want to be truthfully honest with what they're doing, and it's causing them a lot of problem, a lot of grief. To give an example, do I totally recommend it against it? My work wanted to associate points with hours. I'm like, you're going down the wrong path. It's going to mess you up. It's going to mess it up. No, we're going to do it. I'm like, it's going to mess you up, because they didn't know, because they want to be agile accountants, right? They got to know how to price this out and quote it and do all that. And that's not really how you do it. And I'm trying to help them out, but sometimes they just want to do what they want to do, and there's nothing you can do. You can't stop them, right? You can help them along the way and give them advice on how to really do it and how to make it less painful. But sometimes they do it. But I just wanted to go over converting points to hours and what happens, right? And one of the things I told everybody way back when they first started this idea, I says, one, you're going to kill the velocity metric, okay? Everyone uses a velocity metric, but if you do points to hours, you basically negate the need for a velocity metric at all, because it's a waste of time. And I'm going to tell you why. Got my little whiteboard. I think we did this before, but I'm going to go for it again, because it's just everybody's pestering me about this right now. So I figured I'll talk about it, right? So velocity, right? So when I usually do my teams, they usually estimate up top, right, real high, but they get down here the first week, just because they're trying to get everything. And then they estimate down here based on empirical, and they do a little better maybe. And then they estimate up here, and then, well, yeah, they estimate here, they achieve that. So they estimate here, they achieve that, and then sooner or later you get that, right? So you get this little cone effect, right? Now, what will happen over time, this velocity will improve because of automation, working together, how they do things. There's so many ways where this will improve: communication, time, and we can go through every little reason. Maybe I'll do a couple shows on why the velocity should improve. Okay. Now, typically points are associated with work, complexity, risk, knowledge, what you know. So I usually do, I ask the team, what is your average store you do? Does it have a lot of activities to it, a lot of connections? What is it, one database, two database? What are you connecting to? A couple of API interfaces. And they've been working for a while, so they kind of have a norm. Or we just pick it. If it's a brand new team, we just go for nothing. So I ask them, so you get your average, and here's how I do it. I get an average, and I say, look, we do the Fibonacci series, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, right? I usually talk to them and say, what's your average story? Is it a 3, 5? What number do you want to pick? I just picked a number. So let's say they pick a 2 or a 3, because sometimes they got real small stuff. Maybe the group doesn't do a lot of complicated stuff, so maybe the average is a 2. Maybe the group does more complicated stuff, so maybe it's a 3. So let's just say it's a 3. Then I ask them, okay, it goes up to a 5 or 8, and you add for complexity, right? Complex. Add for risk. add for unknown. For example, now you shouldn't want to do this, but let's say the business comes over, says I want to build something, but I kind of gonna need how slices, but I don't have a wireframe done yet for you to look at. Well, that goes into unknown and risks. So if you don't have the wireframe, maybe it's an 8 or a 13 because I just don't know what it is. And until you give it to me, I can't lower it down. And especially during a single sprint, it's kind of crazy. But if you want to, so these are kind of things that you would think about, right? Now, if you wanted to go to a two or one, something simple, you've done it, you repeatedly done it before, done something similar, or maybe it's just business as usual, BAU, right? So maybe you go down because of these areas. So you get the typical work, you've been doing it for a while now, and it goes down. For example, so what happens when you go down, right? So in essence, the number of stories will go up. So, but let's think about this. So I get more performance. I get bigger stories, more complex stories. I get more stories done because I have more efficiencies in the process. Most of my teams, when they do the velocity over time, got velocity, I got time, and I showed that at the beginning, right? A lot of my teams, they start out here and they end up going up, okay? Because they figure out efficiencies, how to do stuff. Maybe they take on bigger stories. Maybe they take more smaller stories on, whatever it is. But a lot of the teams I work with end up having an increase in velocity because the velocity is not associated with hours. Now, here's what happens when you associate with hours. I'm going to do some math. So this is the velocity chart over time. History. So each sprint, it goes up, right? So it goes up like that. So I usually get a lot of my teams that. Now, here's what happens when you associate with hours. Now, at first, you're going to have a spike. So when you do hours, let's say I'm going to do it real simple, and I'm going to do the math live. So this is where the total. I'm going to make sure we don't go too far. So let's say I have a team of 5 people. So I have 5 people on my team. 5 people, right? And in a week, what do we do? 40 hours. I'm just gonna make it simple. I'm just gonna say we just do a straight 40. And I'm gonna say it's a sprint of 40 hours. Right? 40 hours per week. Right? And I'm gonna say they came up with, we're gonna say 1 point is equal to 5 hours. And this happens for a lot, right? So I'm gonna do 1 point equals 5 hours. So 5 points. So 40 hours in a week would be how many points? Would be equal to 8 points, right? All right. So, and the 5 times 8, so it's like you get 40 points a sprint. But here's the kicker, right? Let's say let's say here is 40 points. Then you start out low. Let's say this is 40 points on the curve. Once you start doing hours to points, your line goes across like that. That is your velocity forever. Forever. When you do points to hours, right? See that? It'll never go up. There's no trends. Why would you want to do the velocity metric if you equate this? The only time it goes up down is someone's sick or out, like, they're out for a day and it kind of goes up and down. But I know you're equating velocity to hours when I see this, right? It's a telltale sign that they're trying to guess how many days or how many hours it takes to work, and they're figuring that out, and they flatline their velocity. It tells me that they're using hours established points. But so let me ask you a question. I showed you this, right? Some people say, oh, we really need to do hours to points. Why does the whole industry track velocity then? There would be no need to it because it's a straight line. Why would I want to waste my time tracking a straight line metric that never changes? You don't need to, right? And then you're just doing timesheets. You're just going to track how many people, how many hours everybody's in the office. It doesn't measure value. The idea behind the points was to help measure value, complexity, and bringing stuff to the table, just to give you an idea of size, right? So, but it's not a measure of value anymore. It's just hours worked. It's a time card checking system. So I just wanted to share that with you. Now, there's ways to tweak it where I did that. And then we talked about, and there is a way, I mean, if you're really stuck and the managers insist, like they do it where I am right now, to do this, there is some flexibility. However, they'll get you on capacity. Why aren't you at fully capacitized? Why don't you have that blah, 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 right? You should so many hours. You should be fully, debate. So we talked about if you're going to equate, we're going to say 1 point equals 5 hours, right? So we're going to say 1 point is equivalent to 5 hours, and that's what they say. And I gave you the things about how do we go posit higher. So if I have a complex one, right, complex. If I have risk, I have unknowns. And I'll tell you one thing, the groups that do this have more of this stuff than they do have answers when the business comes over. Because when you do that, it means you don't know what you're doing. And this is going to happen more in that organization. A lot more unknowns, a lot more unknown data from the business side. And that's why they do that. Because if they had all that, they would never go there. I'm just telling you right now. This is a sign of that unknown business requirements. Now, the other thing you can do is negative. So if it's simple, if it's done before, whatever, similar, BAU, business as usual, then it would go down, right? So let's say you had a job that took, I'm just going to make it simple. One, and they also split everything up, by the way. They have testers and developers. So we're just going to go with the tester developer route. One developer, one tester. Let's say it takes 1 day. Let's say it takes 5 hours to do this story. It takes 5 hours for the tester. So it's 10 hours total. So that equals 2 points. Okay, so that's 2 points. So this effort's going to be 2 points based on that hour perspective. But let's say it's a simple job, right? Or it's something we did before. So you can have flexibility to kind of apply this complexity thing. Or maybe you think it's 2 hours. Let's do complex. Let's say it looks like it's a 10-hour, 2-day job. And we can get it done based on how they work, which is really slow in this comparison. But I've been in a lot of places where this is like the norm. Maybe it's unknown, or maybe we don't really have the wireframes or have a good feel for what the final product would work at. You know what? I would just make it plus a point and make it 3 points. I would, if I had one of these things and every one of these things I don't have, I'd go to the next level. Even though my time, I estimated 10 hours, I would up it. And the reason why I would up it, because there's so many unknowns, you don't know how good your estimate is. But so that's just a little thing that if you do get stuck in that world and they really want you to do points to hour, one, the velocity chart's going to flatline. Two, it's just not going to get you what you want. It's not going to help you measure improvement in the group. And 3, you can play a little bit, but it's still going to be level, like if it's simple or not, or you've done it before. Wow, we're way off time. So not only are we late today, we're at the 20-minute mark, which is above the 15-minute daily Scrum time limit. And sorry about that. But it's Saturday, kind of off-centered. Had to go shopping. And ring the bell if you like the show. So I think we'll talk. We'll add some stuff up there, do some TikToks, have some fun. It's Saturday. I don't know what the kids are going to do come next week. I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of off guard because they close all the schools down for the next 2 weeks. So it's a good thing I'm in the IT and business because you can work from home. Someone has to figure out how to do help the kids out. But I always, I'm just going to say this. Well, I'll save it for tomorrow. Anyway, it's too long. We're at the 20-minute mark. I'll see you later. See you tomorrow, Sunday. You have an awesome day. Happy scrumming. Happy fun day. Have some fun with your kids and do some family outings. Slow down, read a book, someone says. So that's good. Take care. Bye. See ya.